those sitting with the audience, and all those of our members who came to attend this very important press conference for Citizens Alliance. In fact, it is the first press conference of 2026. Not only that, it is also a press conference. We have not had a press conference for a very long time that I can't even remember when last we had our press conference. But today we engage the media to discuss a few things with the public. One of them is, as you could recall, we just had a congress last year where I was re-elected to lead the party. And the purpose of this press conference is to brief the public through the media about our activities that we've been doing so far since our congress, but also the activities we plan to do in the coming months running up to the elections. The other issue that we would like to also use this opportunity to inform the public is our alliance with the NPP. Of course, we all know that CA is an alliance with the NPP. It's update the public about the nature and status of that alliance, but also to discuss a few things and state our position on certain national issues as a party. And finally also to talk about our plans for the next election. So that is the purpose of this press conference. We had our congress, I think it was last year, 2025, April, if I can recall. And there I was re-elected unanimously to lead the party for the next 4 years. And an executive was elected with me to run the affairs of the party. Now, we had an activity plan, and obviously because we are in an alliance, all our activities were not to be done in silo, in isolation as a party, but also within the framework of an alliance. We've been engaging in a lot of grassroots activities. We've been also giving our support to youths and women as part of our youth and women empowerment initiatives. We've also taken part with and organized rallies together with the NPP and supported the NPP in their rallies and political mobilization. And recently we also had a rally in Mayamba, in the North Bank region, in Nyomi to be more precise, and it was a very successful rally as well. All our structures are intact from URR to Banjul, and they've been engaging in activities both as a party in isolation, but also within the framework of the NPP alliance. Our structures have been working very closely with the NPP in the regions as well, both in KM, in West Coast, in the North Bank, in the URR. Wherever the NPP is having an activity, the CA structures are also working with them, working together to strengthen the position of the alliance so that we can win the 2026 elections, but also to make sure that the political alliance going forward is also strengthened. So we thank our regional structures who've been working very hard, not only promoting CA agenda, not only working to mobilize support for CA in the regions, but also working with the NPP to ensure that this alliance is strengthened. So for that, we hope to update the public on that. Again, all the activities that the government has been doing to meet the people's store, CA was visible as well, and we took part in all these activities. And then on the alliance is stronger today than ever before. And I think I've said this before, but I think I'll repeat it. For those who don't know the nature of this alliance and how it started, the CA alliance was not decided by Dr. Ismail Sisi. No, unilaterally, no. This was a carefully thought decision by the entire party structures, including the local structures. As you could recall, if I just take you down to memory lane, we contested the 2021 elections. And when we joined politics as a party and registered our party and went around the country to mobilize support, our intention was to contest the 2021 elections. That is why we invested a lot, both human resource-wise, but also financial resources to contest the elections. But unfortunately, we could not contest because of some technicalities. We were disqualified to contest. We challenged this decision by the IEC at the courts, at the Supreme Court. and we emerged victorious, and the Supreme Court made a ruling that we should be allowed to contest. Then we made a strategic calculation, looking at the timeline when this decision was made, and the time of the elections. Campaign had already started. We decided that we are not going to contest the elections. And then we are left with also a decision to make. If we don't contest the elections, what do we do? What role are we going to play in the elections? Then we had a meeting, because many parties were approaching us. Some were asking us to endorse them. And we had a meeting as a party, inviting all the general structures and the executive to decide what role CA would play in the elections. Some were saying that we should endorse the NPP. Some say UDP, some say DOI, some say GDC, some say Mr. SFR, the independent candidate. So there was lack of consensus as to who we should endorse. But after many deliberations of many hours, we decided as a party that we are not going to endorse anyone. However, any CA member, whether you're just a member or you're in the executive, you are free to go and support any party of your choice. But CA as a party will not endorse officially any candidate or any political party. Then someone to support and put their weight behind the UDP, someone to support the NPP, someone to support DOI, as agreed upon on that meeting. The elections were over. We met again to decide the future of CA, considering the current political dynamics. And we decided again as a party, and we in fact voted, that for CA to contribute to nation building and continue to stay relevant as a political party, but most importantly to contribute to nation building, because if you are a political party, your role is to support national development, whether you are in the opposition, holding government accountable, or you align with the government to bring your ideas and your strategies and help government fulfill its mandate. So we met and decided, what do we do? Do we stay in the opposition to continue holding government accountable for their actions or inactions? Or do we form an alliance with the government? We had a manifesto, a 5-point plan, that we thought if we add our weight behind the government, we could have we could contribute more. And we decided there that we are going to form an alliance with the NPP. And the alliance was established, and we are part of an alliance. And I was appointed as part of that alliance, and I was given a sector, the Ministry of Information, to run. So this was it. Today the alliance is very strong. We are still with the alliance. And we are going to support the President, His Excellency's presidential bid for 2026. That is the position of CA. We are not going to put up a candidate as a party. We are going to support His Excellency the President as our candidate for Citizens Alliance as part of the framework of the alliance. Now, since we joined the alliance, we've not degraded it. We've seen a lot of progress. The alliance has been very smooth. The respect is mutual. And we've seen and realized that we being part of the alliance has contributed a lot to national development, because we gain a whole sector, the sector responsible for information broadcasting, and the changes and reforms we've brought to that sector has really contributed a lot to national development and transformed the entire information landscape. But not only that, we came to the alliance with the vision and the belief that we want to contribute to a transformational development that can have impact on people's lives. And we found that as part of the coalition. Today, nobody, even the opposition, agree that the president is delivering. That is a consensus even among the opposition. The only thing, in fact, they say is that yes, he is delivering. The only problem they will say is our willingness to fight corruption, which I think is also misrepresented. What this government has done to fight corruption, the government has done it. But when it comes to the provision of basic services, when it comes to the interventions and investments in certain critical sectors like energy, it's unprecedented. Today, when His Excellency was coming to power in 2017, only 53% of Gambians have access to electricity. Today, 78%. And with the investments already done, we are heading for universal access by the middle of next year. or this year, end of this year, every Gambian should have access to electricity. And it's an open truth that you go to many villages and communities in North Bank, in Sierra, in West Coast region, in Fonyi, in Jara, communities that never had electricity before in their lifetime, today they have electricity. Investments in infrastructure road, the 50-kilometer Batem Harding Highway road, 84 kilometers Hakalang road, 60 years, no government could build that Hakalang road because of the nature of that road. It's built now, benefiting the people of Nyomi, Lower Nyomi, Upper Nyomi, and Jokali. You go to Kabada. We've been in Kabada with Rafi during our tour of the country. Kabada was inaccessible during the rainy season. It's not possible for you to reach Kabada. The people of Kabada know this. No roads at all. Today, they've got almost 3 or 4 different roads linking all of Kabada. Unprecedented. The Kiang West Road, we spent the night in Kiang West on that road. We had a puncture because the road was so bad. Today that road is done. Basiru is sitting here. He's from that area. From Sankani to Tankula. That road is done. Built by the president. For 6 years that road, nobody built that road. The people of Kiang were crying for that road. All these investments in road infrastructure. And I've said this before, and some people thought I was comparing PPP, and I was never comparing their development. Every government has a role to play. Every government did what they could, based on the circumstance they find themselves in. But when we have the data that PPP and APRC built 800 kilometers of road together, cumulatively, President Moro built 1,500 plus within 8 years. Roads, both primary and secondary roads. Look at healthcare, the investments in healthcare. Today, we've transformed healthcare sector in this country. Go to AFSTH. Yes, we are not saying it's perfect, but at least there's improvement in healthcare provision. We built 5 modern healthcare centers across the country, in Dali, in Kiang, in Tumanna, in Basse, in Mankamang, in Basse, in Sisamaja, in Jokado, in Salikenya, in Central Badibo. These are state-of-the-art healthcare facilities. We are building a 1,500-bed hospital in Farah, not only to serve West Coast region, but also to serve the entire sub-region. And investments done in making sure that we have provision of ambulances. Today, for the first time in our history, we have what they call community ambulances. Ambulances are stationed in some villages, waiting to take people to hospitals when they need it. Never happened before. And we increased our ambulance stock from 70 to 160 within 7-8 years. These are investments in the healthcare system. Education, 6,000 classrooms in 6 years. 424 schools in 6 years we've built. And all the investments done. Invested 90 million plus in women empowerment, helping women entrepreneurs to either start business or expand their businesses. Our youth empowerment programs in the Songhai initiative, the roots activities, and so on and so forth. These are all investments in water. Yes, things are not perfect, but considering the circumstances of the COVID-19, of what we inherited from the previous government, of the wars in Ukraine and Israel, I think this government has done quite significantly in improving the lives and livelihoods of Gambians. That is why CA stays true to this coalition, because we've seen progress in this coalition. Had we joined the coalition and we saw there was no progress, and we saw retrogress, and we saw no willingness on the part of the government to transform the lives of this government, we would leave the coalition, no doubt. But we didn't join the coalition. We saw this government has the willingness, the political willingness, and the vision to transform this country. That is the vision of this country and its president and His Excellency the President. That is why we still believe in the coalition. We will support the coalition, and will ensure we do everything possible to bring His Excellency back to number 1 Marina Parade come December 6, 2026. And this is his position on those issues. In my ministry also, we've seen transformations. We've passed the Access to Information Law. Now every Gambian can write and ask for any information from any public officer, and you get it by law. The government has passed the Anti-Corruption Act. We are setting up the Anti-Corruption Commission as part of it as well. Today we are subventing, as a government, a lot of basic services, agriculture. We are subventing fertilizer for farmers. We are subventing the purchase of granules for farmers. We are subventing petrol at the pump. That is why today you've seen that the price of petrol has gone down slightly in the pump. We are subventing basic commodities as well. That is why we've seen a stabilization of basic commodities. So these are all initiatives done by this government. And as a party, this was why we joined politics. to make life easy for Gambians. So any government we see doing it, we'll join you and support you. It is election year. We know elections can be contentious sometimes, but let us maintain the peace. Gambia is a peaceful country, and we are known for our peaceful nature. Elections, we have a role to play as citizens, but our decision should be based on two things. Not who should contest, as others are trying to make you believe about this no to third term idea. It's not going to work. Only the Constitution decides who contests elections in this country, not people, not citizens, not voters. What voters do is who they will vote for. But who contests, that is in the law. It's not in the hand of anybody. The law has criteria as who is qualified to run for elections in this country. The same manner as the law says who should vote. You must be a Gambian. You must be over 18 years of age. You must be of sound mind. What is the fourth way? You must, yeah, but before you qualify to get a voter's card, there are 4 criteria. You must be a Gambian. You must be 18 years. You must be of sound mind. There's a 4th criteria I can't remember. But that's what the law says. You must be a Gambian. But who contests? The law also says that. So who are you to say no to third term? Barrow should not contest the presidency. Who are you to say that? Go and contest the law instead. Go contest it because the Constitution makes him qualified to run. So who are you to say he will not run? It means you are being anti-constitutional. You are a rebel. Anybody who starts a campaign to say the president will not run this election is a rebel. Is a rebel. Pure and simple. And must be treated as a rebel. So the president will contest and CA will support him and he will win. I think there's a consensus along those lines. So this is it. Let us have a peaceful election. Now, finally, there's an emerging issue, which I think every citizen should have their voice on it, the issue of irregular migration. We all know the dangers and the risks that are tied to this very dangerous journey. As a country, as a government, we want our young people to stay and build this country. That is what we want. That is why we are providing opportunities for young people. And there is no better opportunity for a young person in any country than to give them the tools they need to improve their life. What are those tools? Skills and education. Any government, any politician who comes and tells you that, vote for me, if I come to power, I'll give you money every month, they are lying to you. There is no money they can give you. What any government can do for its young people, who we believe are the cream of our society, who we believe should lead, should be the vanguard of development, is to give you the tools that you need, the tools. What are those tools? It's education and skills, nothing else. Nothing else. Even your own child. When you have a child, your responsibility is what? You educate that child. When they finish education, are you going to give them the pass after they finish their education? They should in fact take care of you in our society. In other societies, when you have 18, you finish education, you go your way and go fend for yourself. But what we want is very simple. You want society to educate us. We finish and want to sit at home and wait for us to give us the pass. And we are sitting and saying, this country, as we speak, there are many non-Gambians who are making it in this country. The Ivorians, the Malians, the Kenyans, the Sierra Leoneans, the Liberians, they are in this country sending money back home every month to their parents. And we are sitting and saying, go educate yourself if you are a young man. Go find a skill and find a job. Because if you go take the back way and arrive in Spain or Germany, life is not going to change automatically for you. That is the fact. It will not change automatically for you. So our position is, as a government and as a party, we support that policy of the government, is that we are doing 4 things in tandem to stop irregular migration. Even though no country in the world can stop irregular migration. Even America is struggling with at the Mexican border. The UK, the Channel crossing, every day they are struggling with it. Governments have come and gone in the UK. Every government promising that they are going to stop it. It's difficult to stop it. When people want to move, they move. But what we are doing as a government is, one, we are providing opportunities for young people to stay in this country. By doing what? We've built multiple vocational, multi-purpose training centers across the country. We've even decentralized them. We've built one in Demban, in Kanilai. We've built in Julangel, in Wasu, in Pachar. We are building a specialized one for aquaculture in Tujere, another specialized one for agriculture in Wasu, in Pachar as well. We are giving scholarships for young people at UTG. We build USET for you to come and become engineers as well. We are doing all these things to make sure you get a chance to get yourself educated. But also, we are also making sure that we are doing sensitization to tell you this road is dangerous. Don't take it. Don't take it. Why risk your life for the unknown when you can sit here and do something for yourself and change your life here if you have the willingness and the dedication to do it? But also, we are also making sure that we put the resources of the security services. Currently, there is an operation going on in Jinan to make sure that we stop the boats from leaving this country. Because it is our responsibility as a government to protect the life of every Gambian and to ensure every Gambian lives a dignified life in the Gambia. And together we can build this country. The countries we want to go to, the Americans and the Britons and the Germans, who built those countries for them? They built it under hard conditions. The Chinese built their China under very hard conditions. The Americans built America under, go and read their history, how they built their country to make it to the way it is. People sacrificed blood, tears, and sweat. But we don't want to sacrifice. We want to run away instead. We have to stay and build this country. It's difficult to build a country. Sometimes the people who build the country don't enjoy the benefits of what they build. It is the generation that comes after them that enjoys it. Today, if you are a parent and you work hard and sacrifice and sell fruits and sell bananas to educate your child, when that child comes and succeeds, who enjoys the fruits of the parent's labor? It is the child. It's not the parent. She won't be here to enjoy it. Our mothers wake up at 3 a.m. They go to the markets and sell to pay for our education. By the time we finish our education at university and successful, they are gone. Who enjoys the fruits of their labor? It is them. It is us. We don't want to sacrifice for the next generation. We want to run away instead and leave the country. To build by who? Aliens? No. We have to stay and build this country. That is our position as a party. So basically, this is it from us. We are going to expand our activities for 2026. It is election year, both as a party, but also within the framework of the coalition. We are going to keep the momentum. We'll organize more rallies, more grassroots activities, and we will also expand our support for youth and women empowerment. On that note, I'd like to say thank you, and we'll be happy to receive any questions. Thank you. It's a sad period for CA. We lost our father. He was no ordinary person. He was a statesman, a former Minister of Finance, a top civil servant who has served this country with dedication and distinction for many, many, many years. And he also happened to be Rafi's father. Rafi is our party chairman. We extend our condolences to the deceased and also to the family, and pray for the deceased for Allah to grant him Jannah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister
of Government, which is the media. Your role in informing, disseminating, and scrutinizing are very critical in society. We also acknowledge the presence of the party leader, Honorable Dr. Ismail Asise, and our party chairman, Rafi Diab, who I call the true Democrat. We also extend our condolences to the passing away of his father, who was a model civil servant. I never had the opportunity to meet him, but I personally know people who know him very well, who spoke highly of him. He was one of those rare civil servants who have dedicated their life to serve country with humility, with dignity, and also with relevance of knowledge. My role in CA is to make sure that our policies are known and also disseminated, but in the context of the alliance, is to ensure that our policies align with the policies of the government. And the key area that I mostly focus on, or that we mostly focus on as a think tank, is on governance. And if I may repeat again to the media, I said this in our last rally at Mayamba. I did not join CA as an ordinary person who just saw a bunch of politicians and just decided to, go behind them. I wanted to know what politicians were made of, because I've worked in the private sector and my role or job was mostly around how can you make government to be more open and to be more transparent, especially when it comes to judicious allocation or disbursement of financial resources. And I wanted to know what the politicians in the Gambia were made of in way 2019, 2020. We engage a lot of politicians to basically ask them a simple question, that if you become the party that happens to win the presidency, will you agree to ensure that all our public expenditures will be available on our website so that citizens will know every single dollar that is spent, how was it spent, who was paid, how much was paid, when were they paid, and for what? That is very intrusive. And most of the politicians were actually running away from us. It was only Citizens Alliance and Dr. Ismail Assise who wholeheartedly embraced the idea and went to the extent of putting it in his party manifesto. So that tells you that we have serious people in CA. And as Dr. rightly said, during the campaign of the 2021 election, most of the consensus was that if CA doesn't win, we want to make sure that our knowledge and expertise are utilized to advance Gambia. And that's exactly what this alliance has actually done. So since we got into this government, as Dr. rightly said, we did not regret it. When I say we did not regret it, I mean Gambia did not regret CA aligning with NPP, because there is no financial benefit of aligning with this government. It's actually a pain. The pain of working hard and making sure that your knowledge and your expertise are manifesting themselves in public service delivery. And I think there is a consensus around, mostly in the media, that since Dr. was appointed as Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting, he has changed the narrative of how the government communicates with the media as well as with the people. And he has been serving with utmost integrity. And his knowledge is demonstrating its relevance. And I don't want us to be fooled, and we should not be fooled. To develop a nation, you need knowledge that is relevant, you need integrity, you also need individuals who can deliver. Just sitting at home or anywhere, throwing insults or typing on your keyboard all day without knowing the issues or knowing the context is very easy work. the work of developing the nation, as Doctor said earlier, involves sometimes sweat, blood, and tears. So in terms of governance, I just want to highlight a few areas where CA has actually engaged policymakers within government to make an impact. So since Doctor became minister, we have been working on the sideline. I would want to say the soft approach. The hard approach is making noise on Facebook or social media and complaining. Most have not actually seen us. We've been doing our work behind the scene. And if I may start with the Ministry of Public Service. So we've engaged as a think tank, mostly of dedicated and knowledgeable individuals, both with and even outside of CA in some instances, to actually engage certain policymakers. And if I just want to be brief, the Ministry of Public Service is actually responsible for mostly reforming government and ensuring that there is, formulation of policies and also delivery to ensure that, it aligns, with, the National Development Plan and, agenda of the government. They are also responsible for hiring and firing of civil servants, to the PMO. So what we engaged them on was mostly around, digitization, on how the government can use data and analytics to be able to make decisions that are actually data-driven on payroll, on pension, and on workforce planning, to ensure that they have access to timely data. So we must say that that is a ministry that is very serious about reform. And one of the reasons why we decided to engage them was because they did an audit of ghost workers. So if some of you don't know what ghost workers are, they are basically people who have been paid by the government, but they are not either showing up to work or they don't even exist. So when they did that audit of 3 ministries, they realized that the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, and Ministries of Basic Education, and I believe Higher Education too. So that audit revealed that there was over 2,000 people who were paid from the government payroll, but they don't actually exist, or they were not even supposed to be paid. So if you want to tell me that the government is not interested in fighting corruption or preserving the financial resources of the state, then I cannot have a serious discussion with you, because it only takes a serious government and also a serious minister and also a serious ministry to engage in such an exercise. And as a result of that exercise, they've already engaged some of the folks who were receiving those funds to start returning the money back to the coffers of the state. So when we saw that, we said this is a serious ministry. And when we engaged them on how they can utilize technology in the areas of data and analytics, they were very receptive. The permanent secretaries we engaged, were good listeners. They also understand that, knowledge is an island. And the areas of expertise that we were proposing to them, were specialized knowledge, which they actually embraced. And we put together a team to build what we call a data warehouse for them. So for those of you who understand systems, because sometimes you can work with different systems in an institution, but the data that you need sometimes is very difficult to collate, meaning to put it together and also turn it into information that might be very useful. So we did a pilot and we built a data warehouse where they were able to see the trends of, the government payroll, who is about to retire, and how would they make sure that, people who have already retired are not being paid, and also how do you make sure that you can eliminate ghost workers in the system. Some of those logic were built into the system to be able to automatically do that. So we did this as a proof of concept, and the ministry loved the idea so much that they decided to turn it into a real project. So that project is about to start with another provider to ensure that they can verify the identity of all civil servants to make sure that we don't have ghost workers in the system. And if you are not showing up, you don't get paid, except if you are on, approved leave. So this is serious reform. Another institution that we engage with the help of Honorable Dr. Ismaila Cisse was the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. And I'm very passionate about that hospital because I live in the US and I've seen how advanced medical care is and how the medical personnel relate to individuals and how knowledgeable they are. I want to report to Gambia because in as much as we were working with the hospital, my wife and my youngest baby girl were admitted at that hospital too for 6 weeks. And I saw a lot of the good, of the challenges, and of the bad. When I talked to Dr. Ismaila Cisse of the challenges that I saw, he didn't waste any time. He connected me directly with the Chief Medical Director, Dr. Mr. Ite. And I put together a team, mostly from CA, and some that are not even CA, who were knowledgeable. We actually engaged the hospital management to ask them whether we can give them our services for free on 2 areas. Because the team we put together have knowledge in finance and technology, especially data and analytics. They opened up their arms, they were very receptive. We had workshops with their finance team to document how they collect money and how that money is tied to patients that are coming into the hospital and leaving the hospital. And we noticed that one of their key problems is systems. They don't have an electronic medical records management system. If you go to the hospital today and they diagnose you with, let's say, fever and malaria or even a broken bone, most of that is actually written on a piece of paper. The medications that they gave you is on a piece of paper. If you go back again, if that piece of paper or file is stored in a store somewhere, they may not be able to easily retrieve and see what is wrong with you or what you were even given, or are you allergic to any sorts of medication. So I think the hospital is aware that an electronic medical records management system is way overdue, is something that they need yesterday, and the management has given us the assurance that they will soon, work on implementing that system. We also did a documentation or a design of how that system should actually even look like, and gave it to the hospital management. And we think they will run away with it, with the right, technology leadership, because that is very important. But this is just one area where you can see CA working directly with government, and we were not even charging a dollarship or a bottle, just spending our time to actually, give back to our skills. Another institution where we made an impact was NAWEC. I have Dr. Yama sitting right in front of me. We engaged NAWEC through Dr. Ismail Asise, and thank God, the MD over there is a transformative figure, I want to believe, based on my engagement with him. And we asked him, what are your challenges? What can we do for you? And he was very open also with his team to acknowledge that data is his problem. They have a lot of foundational good systems, but the problem is, how do you get data out of this system to be able to make decisions that are very timely and also fact-based? So he opened up to us, again for free. We put together a team. We did an assessment of NAWEC's capabilities in terms of, the systems that they need to be able to collect data and be able to turn it into information very quickly. And also one other area that they mentioned was they have challenges in, reconciling their bank statements. And we were able to, this was public actually, from the National Assembly, because they were hitting them hard on this. We were able to engage them to document, how the process was working, and we identified the gaps and the key challenges, and we gave them some good recommendations. So these are just, some areas where CA is actually working with policymakers to try to make an impact in the system. So getting into government is not getting in there to enjoy. We have a nation to build. And in order to build this nation, there are folks who need to work and get paid. There are going to be folks who need to give back, as Doctor said. Most of these advanced countries were built with blood, sweat, and tear. And for me, looking at all these young people in this press conference, I want to believe, and I also want to, convey to you that Gambia has never been easy. If they tell you Gambia is easy, I want to reiterate, Gambia has never been easy. But you can make it easy by focusing on education or skills development. As Dr. Riley said, even in my household, I have relatives who finished high school, did not get the results that they wanted, and were just sitting at home doing nothing. And I had to push them to go and develop themselves and acquire skills. And thank God, both of them are able to write computer programs now. They know how to code. So if your dream is to just become an office worker when you finish high school and you didn't get the results that you wanted, there is always a second chance. But just sitting down at home and drinking attire is not going to do it for you. The government has created opportunities, and I think more opportunities need to be created as well to engage the youth and to also make sure that you are developing yourself by acquiring skills. And as part of our campaign agenda for 2026, we will make sure that we engage the youth of this nation, and also by working with the Ministry of Higher Education to get into neighborhoods and to get an idea through data collection and analysis to understand, what are some of the youths that are sitting out there, and not doing anything, so that we can engage them to actually develop some skills. So going back to the point of corruption, CA has a zero tolerance against corruption. And if I may repeat what I said at our rally, let us be very honest to ourselves here. President Adam Barrow inherited a very, very, very corrupt system. I think most of you can agree with that. And fighting that corrupt system requires laws, requires change of attitude, and requires punishing or penalizing folks who are engaged in such activities. With regards to the laws, he has already given us an anti-corruption law and an anti-corruption commission whose responsibility will be to investigate, prosecute, and also make sure that folks who are engaged in corruption are punished. But more importantly, is to ensure that they create awareness in the public sector as well as in the private sector, because corruption is a two-way street. A government or a public official is not just going to get up and say, oh, I want to be corrupt today, or I want to engage in corruption today. There is a demand and a supply. The demand is mostly coming from either businessmen or average citizens. So if there is a contract that is out there and folks are supposed to bid for that contract, and you as a businessman don't want to follow the right process, but you just want to take the easy way of attempting to bribe or asking for kickbacks, then you are the person who is actually, creating the demand. And the people who are working in government, they know what they are doing. Most of them are decent and honest people, but the systems and the laws that are in place now will be able to help us to fight corruption. So let us not fool ourselves. To fight corruption requires a collective effort through laws, change of attitude, and also, just making sure that, you eat what you earn. It's as simple as that. So with that, I think time is defeating me. I will just pass the mic back to John, and maybe some of you will answer questions. Thank you.
wala man personally ak Ibrahim activist migrant ak amuñ benn issue ku nekk da nga béy sa waar ku nekk da nga liggéey sa liggéey moom liggéeyam mooy advocacy mooy mu raise awareness about irregular migration. Si advocacy boobu noonu daf la joxee data mooy lan mooy numbers mooy ñaata nit ñoo cross ñaata nit ñoo dee ak ñaata nit ñoo aaga moom loolu la dee joxe. ñun as a government nag ñun tamit dañ am ay policies pour stop irregular migration. am na luwaa yi teg ñi nga xam ne tey président wax na ko ne zero tolerance la on irregular migration képp ko xam ne téye nañ la nga nekk comme ni human ñu dee smuggle nit ñi ñu dee isi gaal yi government do compromise ak ñooñu dañoo face the full force of the law foog naa debate bi fu mu nekk mooy numbers yi ñun as a government suñ génnee ñu ne lii mooy numbers yi of the 200 migrants yi nga xam ne yooyu lañ intercept ñun foog ñu joxee numbers as a government dañoo ne 52 Gambian 19 Nigerian loolu government bu nekk danga ko war a def. It doesn't mean that we are saying or we are trying to divert attention. No, more fact bi that is the data. The society every girl bu dem mu am 200 nit half bi they are non-Gambian because lu xew mu ñun as a government bu ñoo politicize affaire irregular migration dafa unfair te loolu opposition bi nekk di def dañ koo nekk di politicize naka lañ ko politicize mooy buggu ñoo wax ñii bugg a dem dëgga di leen wane soo gisee ngeen a dem is because government bi nii ak nii fekka du loolu bugguñ ko pour mooy data bi te data bi tam daf ñu won ne te ñun dañ ko wane empirically dañ woon source ne irregular migration dafa reduce under président Barrow dem bi mooy fact mooy data bi mu fa kenn mënu koo génnee ñoom isi nañ data ne Ibrahima migrant activist ne on 2024 alone 1600 nit ñoo dee ma ne leen ne isi leen proof bi doo mën a just announce numbers fekk isi loo fan nga jëlee numbers yooyu noonu dafa yomba trop ñun loolu mooy suñ point ne bañuñ loo wax but ana proof bi ñun proof buñ joxee this is empirical data that in 2016 alone over 17,000 migrants ñoo jaala lii is EU data lii is data boo xam ne is there out there so loolu yëpp du debate bi sax nit ñi ñoo dee jël debate bi rek di ko yóbbu foofu noonu di ko make an issue it's not an issue the issue mooy ne our young people are dying at sea lan la ñu mën a def ñun as a government as citizens as parents as communities to stop them from going because di nga bàyyi xel ne ñi bari ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi ci gaal bi ay jigéen lañ ñu yóbbu seen doom yi gis naa ki jigéen bu yóbbu doomam 2-year-old child mu dugga gaal dem gis naa jigéen boo xam ne bu ma demee hospital on Friday bu gaal bi koppoo gis naa jigéen bu tëdda 7 months pregnant mu ngi try pour cross gaal bi gis naa xale yu am 2 years ñan ñoo dee yóbbu noonu naka ngaa nekkee parent bu responsible ngaa dee sa doom di ko dugal ci gaal bu dangerous naka ngaa nekkee parent bu responsible ngaa feyal sa doom mu nga ko dugal ci gaal te ñu bari ñoo seen parent sa leen dee feyal dañuy jaay seen nag yi seen kër yi jël seen doom dugal ci gaal mooy waxtaan bu ñu war a am as a country mooy dëgga bi ne yoon bi dafa dangerous man gis naa ku jaay sobam $500,000 mu jël banque yi gis naa ku jël loan GTU CCU mu jël banque yi léegi naka ngaa blame government si loolu ko dañ ko bëgg a politicize jërëjëf waaw sa second one mooy link bi yépp is about local content the government mu ngi issue loi very soon ñu policy ñu ngi koo liggéey ak parengut pour focus on local content te soo seetee government su moo jëndaa let's say mu ngi procure dafa jënda yoo xam ne defaruñ ko fi te ñun dañ bëgg a increase suñ local industry dañ ko bëgg a support moo tax ngay seet président every year dafa dellu ñoo industrial tour di dem si local industry di seet naka la moo demee loo wax it's a good idea dinañ si liggéey parce que li liggéey private sector la ak government ñoo war a booloo through Ministry of Trade pour gis ne local content ñu promote ko so that tey every government furniture bu government di procure those furnitures are made in Gambia ñun policies yooyu lañ nekk di work on as a government parce que tey société government lu mu dee procure every year si furniture si toogu si table si lépp si biti la day jógee if we suñ supporters moo tax ñu ngi create all these skill centers pour build seen carpentry skills moo tax ñu build USET for the first time ñu am engineering school boo xam ne daaf soo demee USET soo fa visité di nga am ay yoo xam ne spécially pour mechanics te so that government train young people yi nekk into mechanics but young people tam ki nekk mécanique tamit da nga war a yóbbu sa xam-xam parce que mécanique 15-20 years ago ak mécanique te dafa utee parce que 15-20 years ago moto yu ees yi amul électronique cars yi amul soo léegi soo nekkee mécanique 20-25 years ago nga defal manual cars léegi moto yu ees yi ñëw yaa war a dem nga yokk sa xam-xam si moto yu ees yi waaye soo fa desee rek yow defuloo dara moto yi you're gonna bring their cars to you ba loo wax lu am solo la ñu ngi ko bàyyi xel bu baax a baax nañ woo ak private sector bi pour gis ne ñu promote more local content so that tey muy table muy toogu muy furnitures loo xalaat li nga xam ne government daf ko di jëfandikoo we make it in the Gambia moo tax ñu ngi promote made in Gambia waaye loolu ñun ñëpp ñoo ko war a def li nga xam ne tey local industries yi ñu leen a promote particularly local producers so that tey soo demee si any supermarket there'll be a special lifin boo xam ne dafa nekk made in Gambia loolu dafa nekk by force let's say 25 ñu ne ok every supermarket 25% of sa lifin yëpp products yëpp dafa war a nekk Gambian products loolu la ñu mën a def pour promote made in Gambia waaye tamit reduce inflation soo gisee inflation mu ñu dee sonal because most of the things lu ñoo import or lu ñoo jëfandikoo si biti la dee jógee su price demee si biti dafa da nga ko jëndaale inflation bi te pare tamit nga seet foreign currency put pressure on the foreign currency tamit moo tax nga seet léegi tey Gambia luñ dee import moo ëppa dan luñ dee export and soo import loo jënda si biti yaa ngi ko jëndee in the foreign currency du dala si nga di use it means you have to buy foreign currency te more demand nga make for the foreign currency more the price goes up moo tax nga di gis ne léegi dalasi bi léegi mu depreciate against other major foreign currencies but through good monetary policy with the central bank gis nañ ne foreign currency mu ngi stabilize te lu ñu war a def as a country moo ñu produce more te government loolu mooy seen policy right now pour ñu support local industries yi suñ chicken industry suñ poultry industry suñ livestock industry cement industry loo xalaat li nga xam ne industry la critical commodity la ñu support industry yooyu noonu moo tax tey gars yi parce que soo fa dem ñu ngaan lu ñuy waaye SIC special investment certificate te yow soo ñëwee as an investor Gambian nga bëgg a invest in Gambia in certain sectors dañ laa jox SIC mooy ne any equipment loo isi from outside dañ laa jox duty free ba pare dañ laa jox tax break for 5 years to encourage you nga build sa investment fii nii nga employ young Gambia.
Okay, dama ko just add ndaw si affaire yi migration. It's very unfair for anyone try to politicize affaire yi migration because man dama believe ne conversation bi war a am na in society because lii is a societal problem boo xam ne dafa dem ba nga xam ne ñun suñu yuut si ñu bëri dañ believe ne balaa ko mën a make foog nga njëkkaa def aw because doo mën a understand koo xam ne mu ngi am business boo xam ne mu ngi dox man gis naa ko witness naa ko nekkul comme loo xam ne ñu ko expérience gis naa 3 individuals yoo xam ne ñu ngi am business yoo xam ne ñu ngi dox ñu ngi liggéey xaalis fii waaye ñoom ñëpp dañ def seen mind ne ñoom foog ñu dem aw balaa ko mën a make te lu ñu mun jee def mooy dañ jël seen business yëpp close ko jaay ko kenn ki toog la dem mu nekk fa 1 year di struggle mu jógee foofu ñu mu dem Greece nekk fa homeless si suno bi try na ba soxla pour mën a dem fu moo dem eventually keneen ki tam seen tig nga am business soo gis nga lii du affaire yi ne nit yi dañ nekk fii desperate nit yi dañ nekk fii comme woo moo fi am nga xam ne dañ dem ba nga xam ne amul seen lekka nga war a migrate because ñu bari ñu dee migrate Europe léegi loolu lañ nekk dafa nekk ne woo moo dee am seen dëkka comme Syria ak Libya yooyu noonu nga xam ne dem na ba nga xam ne ñoom léegi they are not safe anymore in their country and they have to flee fii loolu condition boobu amu fa te dañ ko war a wax loolu mooy digga bi fii there is enough water supply fii kenn maru fi am na ñoo xam ne drought climate change moo tax gars yi mu di migrate donc dañoo dem bi nga xam ne seen femmes si sax amatuñ ndox seen animals yaa ngee dee ñoom seen bopp amuñ ndox pour naan moo tax ñuy migrate fii loolu amu fi fii there is abundant opportunities pour nit yi mun ko fee make but man bu ma nekk xale bu ma nekk high school ñan ñoo nekkoon suma rôle modèle mooy woon semestre yu daan jógee Germany ñëw holiday ak seen benn 190 yi di enjoy te su société ba léegi loolu moo dee fi December gis nañ ko fi dañoo jógee aw ñëw fii ak seen moto yi xale yëpp ñoo ngi leen inspire bi moo tax ba léegi xale yi loolu moo nekk seen brain bi ne balaa nga ko mën a miig fii foog ñu dem aw pour mën a dawal moto yi naay si pour mën a saf saf kii man Europe laa nekkoon 10 years balaa ma fi doon jógee seen mindset bu xale yi am man tam moom laa amoon ne foog ma njëkk a leen aw balaa ko mën a miig waaye dama fa dem 10 years amuma fa dara ma ñib si fii Gambia 2007 ma créé suma compagnie from zero suma compagnie moo ko créé $30,000 laa ko créé fii ma dem justice ma dem register compagnie bi ma dem Sénégal 7 place di ñëw ba tey suma compagnie baa ngeen xayal 40 nit ñu ngi liggéey fii si Gambia di créer employé su ma toogoon Europe du ma doon am that opportunity so loolu suñ mindset lañu war a change and it's very important ñu am waxtaan this conversation ñu ko am pour xale understand ne Gambia fii mu ko méegi because gis nañ fii loolu mën ni foreigner su dee ñëw fii tey toogal colonie ñu root guddi nga gis keke ñu dawal keke yi xool si stock du benn kenn nekku fa Gambia c'est loolu ñu Guinéen Nigérian ñu ngi mën a gis ñu dawal keke yi koo si laaj mu la wane maa ngi liggéey 2500 every day mu ko liggéey dëkk bi su nekkoon dëkk boo xam ne cool dëkk boo xam ne comme gars yi ñu koy describé foog nga ne loolu pas possible fii jaama mu fii lu nekk mu fi nañ bàyyi di politicien affaire yi backway bi du affaire yi politique nañ am di conversation pour youth si because yoon bi dafa dangerous pour youth si bàyyi because it's very sad every time nga gis bus bi nga gis gaal yi xale yaa ngeen dee xale yoo xam ne xëy na xale yooyu sax kenn ku am na si koo xam ne moo gën a garaw sa mag su ko bokk when it comes to coding waaye mosu daal opportunité pour practice ko so lii conversation yu war a am la in society ñu génne si politique pour youth si mën a understand because lii is a life and death situation and let no one here try to politicize it man loolu la ma waxee ko si conversation
bi am na solo ne before ñu nekk in government dañ daan génn di discourse or di share suñu ideas about issue waaye léegi ñu ngi government léegi dañ ko deal with it internally te su fekkee ne am nga chance nga nekk si kër boo xam ne am nga chance pour si biir kër ngeen waxtaane ko si biir ngeen find solution lu da ngaa génn si biti di wax di ko wax si biti lu dafa nekk hypocrisie rek parce que ñun si biir léegi most of the issues yi nga xam ne tey mu ngi nekkaan issue in Gambia man minister of information maa dee génn a clarify wala ma wax si wala ma positionné government te positionné government mooy positionné citizens alliance bi ko ñu ñuy government léegi so mënuñoo nekk into collision cause with the government suñ position mooy positionné government positionné mooy suñ position so mënuñoo génn di wax si mbir yooyu noonu waaye lu gën a am solo mooy ñun si coalition bi te lépp loo xam ne dañ ko war a def si coalition bi ñu ngi ko see def on the second issue is about youth si ñun lu ñoom ñu as a party political party ñun like lu ma la wax ni policy government mooy suñ policy in terms of youth development ñu ngi support the same policy te soo seetee suñ manifesto dafa align ak li nga xam ne loolu la government nekk di def within the national development plan te as a government ñun suñ development vision dañ ko anchor on the national development plan mooy lan ñu create a society boo xam ne every youth dafa live a dignified life waaye every youth dafa fulfill potential am mooy lan tey xale bu juddoo Bijilo ak ki juddoo Boli Banna dañu war am di same opportunity pour ñu succeed ñu tekki si dëkk bi ñu dëkk fii si ngor ak si teranga mooy lan xale bu juddoo Bijilo façon education bu moo am ak ci nekk Boli Banna di same façon education bi la ñoo am mooy di same opportunities mooy equal opportunities so da xale bu juddoo Boli Banna su bëggee nekk footballer dafa war a nekk footballer parce que loolu la ko yàlla may parce que américains yi dañu wax ci seen independence declaration ne all men are born equal loolu la ñu wax ne mooy képp ku juddu rek kii yàlla defar rek ñun ñëpp a am waaye man tam gëm naa ne all men are born with a potential képp ku yàlla defar am na lu mu def si yow pour loolu mun laa njëriñ ndax woykat la mu ñëwee la baat bu ne ndax footballer nga ndax craftsman nga ndax painter nga ndax fenkat nga ndax magicien nga am na lu la yàlla may loo xam ne danga ko daf la ko war a njëriñ am na ñoo xam ne fen lañ de dundee dégg am na ñoo xam ne fen lañ de dundee am na ñoo comédien lañ suñu waxee rek nga ree man te su ma defee comédie kenn du ma xool kenn du ree te su ma misegee woy fii nii yéen ñëpp da ngeen jóg daw dem parce que yàlla mayoon ma baat bi am na ñu fi woy te suñu fi woyee am na ñuy jooy loolu la leen yàlla may waaye dafa mel ni comme su la ma yàlla may crude oil si dëkka oil crude oil foog nga extract ko nga refine ko mu mun laa njëriñ talent bu ki yàlla may foog nga refine ko foofu la government di ñëwee mu create di environment nga refine ko xale am football field fu ñoo demee develop seen footballing talent xale am music school fu ñoo développé seen music talent parce que talent bi foog nga développe ko moom jarul mu développe fenkat moom jarul mu développe so mooy affaire si yàlla am na lu mu la may yaa war a gestu sa bopp nga xam lan la yàlla may nga def loolu nekkul ne ñëppay dem office yeddi man dama réalise ne man li ma yàlla may mooy ma defend government moo tax ma ñëw government waaw mooy su ma jox ak jàngale mun naa jàngale bu baax su ma taw si classroom da ngay bëgg a jooy loolu la ma yàlla may mayoon na ma football nag waaye tam brika ma football fii li bari wuñu woon moo tax football bi ma saaraan si waaye man su ma juddoo woon Angleterre tey ni comme plein en Premier League ba retire lekk naa xaalis so foog ñu dee xalaatee noonu so ñun as a party ñu ngi support government's position on issues particularly on youth development mooy ñu build seen skills moo tax soo seetee ñu ngi invest in infrastructure sports infrastructure demal Mboyo fil nga seet tey naka lañ ko transformé demal KG5 nga seet naka lañ ko transformé ay Buyam ay palaas yu bari ñu ngi build mini stadium parce que foog nga build infrastructure pour youth si mën a am fu ñoo play pour ñu bugg a nekk si football so mooy suñu question am na benn third question boo raise ay passeport moom issue amul si passeport dañ am passport to the ex no but lifin bi biometric passport bi I don't think that's an issue ñu ngi ko joxe in diaspora biometric passport non waral ma ñëw non passeport man passeport yëguma boobu noonu lu ma xam mooy si biometric passport moom yëguma no I'm not saying it's not true lu ma mooy ne man li ma yëg si passport to the extent that dañ ko even decentralize ñu ngi doon def even province joxe biometric passport even it does Spain ñu ngi joxe biometric passport soo ne beneen bi machine readable passport bi ñu ngi try to face it out because they can accept machine readable passport but biometric passport moom boobu I don't think there's an issue with machine biometric passport. When it comes to ID card remember transition lañ nekka dañ amoon ne BOT with SEMLEX BOT bi end ñu am difficulties léegi ñu ngi come up very soon with a new concession boo xam ne dinañ solve the ID card problem. We know there are challenges with the ID card capacity la demand bi moo ëppa capacity buñ am parce que a lot of people now want ID cards so challenges la hiccups yoo xam ne la we are trying to solve it dinaa find out exactly lu xew last time ma check dañ even expand production to 24 hours at the Ministry of Interior si lu ma yëgoon from the minister bi for at immigration pour ñu nit ñi am seen ID cards ba ñu bari fa tamit seen ID card pare na mu ngi tegu foofu noonu demuñ jëli ko loolu tamit is one thing but like I said ñun suñ bébé te ñu ngi work very soon dinañ solve this issue ñu ngi dem into a new agreement very soon as a government pour gis ne every Gambian am na digital ID card ak physical ID card ñu ngi work on that very soon te suñ saatee loolu noonu within a very short period dañoo make sure every Gambian is registered very soon dinañ ko announce te dinañ ko start boo xam ne dañoo am di foundational ID card dañoo am digital ID card am biometric ID card te dañoo start campaign boo xam ne dañoo register every Gambian nga am ID card te dafa easy very soon ñu solve this issue jërëjëf.
waaw comme aad rek si lu docteur wax gannaaw da nga wax ne affaire yi solution naka la ñoo make sure ni card or passeport dina nekk loo xam ne du jafewaat comme li docteur wax position ni government bi right now moo nekk ne ñu ngi build what we call an e-gov portal so e-government portal boobu noonu lim laa dimbale moo nekk ne yow as a citizen soo lawatuloo sax pour nga dem immigration wala ci police yi pour nga apply ID card wala passeport loolu gaa ngi ko bill already su paree da ngaa toog si sa téléphone bi wala si sa kër nga dem nga apply online nga upload sa documents yi ñu wax la fan la affaire si toolu time bu mu paree ira ñu ñëw deliver la ko wala nga dem yow nga jëli ko xam nga loolu dina solve a lot of problem it's all about digitization te loolu gaa ngi ci kawam xamuñ timeline bi exactly kañ la projet boobu di dem live but it is ongoing so that is another solution.
Thank you. Next. Yes.
Okay, maa ngi tudd Amath Kebe from.
sa laajte am nañ solo dinaa start bi nga xam ne moo mujjee mooy mbiri béykat yi as a government ñun gis nañ ne ñu ngi def suñ kéemtalaay kàttan pour gis ne jënd ak njaay gerte bi at bi mu gën a yomba mu gën a jaar yoon te benn béykat du si soona dina am nag ay ñu si am jafe-jafe yëguma jafe-jafe yooyu nag te mënuma see tontu parce que xam ban façon ngi jafe-jafe la parce que seeko yu bari nañ benn seeko bu am jafe-jafe taxul di wax ne léegi béy jaay ak jëndaa jaay bépp am problème te man si li ma xam ak si li nga xam ne lu la ma yàlla may si tuuti xam naa ne lépp lu waaye def la nga si dem tuuti jafe-jafe dara yombul so man mënumaa see tontu nag to be on the ko xamal lu xew exactly ak la mooy nature of the so mënumaa tontu si boobu noonu naa ma find out lu xew waaye lu ma si gën a wax mooy ne dem nañ digital pour gis ne béykat bu ne soo joxee sa gerte rek ñu fee la sa téléphone government am na that agreement ak Wave plateforme boo xam ne tey digital plateforme boo xam ne tey dafa tax ba nga am sa xaalis sa téléphone xam nga xaalis sa téléphone kenn du ko saaj sa téléphone su réeree sax sa xaalis ba fa xaalis si cloud bi la nekka loolu ju gis ne yëpp pour protect béykat yi waaye si jafe-jafe nag mënuma see wax parce que xaw ma la mooy ne job that jafe-jafe si mbiri by election si foog naa dam ñu bàyyi xel ma sembe man maa ngi woon on the ground xanaa du woon by election déedéet xam nga soo nekkee si coalition mënuñoo put candidate against NPP di dañoo defeat the purpose of the coalition déedéet waaw loolu jarul sax nga am ko si agreement alliance everywhere te maayo suñu waxee ne dañoo ànd a dem yow sooy taw dama la war a jàppale man su ma taw nga jàppale waaye soo tawee ma taw loolu amatul alliance loolu automatiquement alliance bi jeex na so ñun su nekkee si alliance ak NPP su tawee ñun dañoo jàppale NPP mënuñoo tawal candidate so loolu moom alliance principal la. o ngamin ñu dem instead of ñoom dañoo def assessment boobu suñu gisee ne ñu tawal NPP candidate moo njëriñi alliance bi loolu la ñoo toppa suñ tawee so loolu moo la ñu toppa so ñun waaw but in this case assessment bi mooy ne NPP candidate ba gën a am chance pour win so suwaa ñu support ko mooy mbiri lifin bi local government after elections boobu noonu ñun in the next electoral cycle dañoo work in the framework of the coalition now presidential ñun wax nañ suñ taxawaay président Barrow la ñoo support mooy taxaw mooy suñ candidate léegi su ñëwee si mayoral si ak National Assembly boo dañoo am pour waxtaan ak NPP dinañ am yoo xam ne dinañ am si candidate bu fa taxaw as part of the coalition ñun coalition candidate la ñoo taxawal mun naa nekk NCP mun naa nekk si mun naa di most important coalition la te mënuma dinañ si liggéey boo xam ne ñun tamit dinañ am candidate boo xam ne mooy taxawal coalition bi te si la moo jóge loolu du mun a ñàkk. jërëjëf si mbiri CFA bi dafa xaw a complexe tuuti te CFA bi gis nañ ne soo bàyyee xel nga check rate bi in the past 1 month xaw naa stabilize dalasi bi nekk ko di fall as lu ko nit ñi di foog waaw maa ngi ñëw yes there's a pressure bi mu ngi on the dalasi lu tax loolu mooy ne tey xam nga currency market bi si free market bi la nekk mooy ne there is no price control in the currency market la moo dee determine price of a currency si demand and supply factor bi la dee nekk te the demand for the CFA bi moo egg te remember CFA almost 5 countries ñoo ko di use and is pegged to the euro so euro bi eggee CFA bi daf dee am value waaye tamit dalasi bi dalasi rek la CFA bi Guinée Bissau ñu ngi ko use I think Ivory Coast ñu ngi ko use Sénégal ñu ngi ko use Guinea Conakry I think if I'm not wrong ñu ngi ko use Mali ñu ngi ko use so it's a regional currency boo xam ne seen central bank bi mu ngi France and it's pegged to the euro so moo tax mu ngi ko jox dat doole te remember léegi as opposed to before re-export trade bi boo xam ne most of the goods Gambia la di jaar mu dem Sénégal dafa tombe dalasi bi am ak Mali ak Bissau dalasi bi amoon doole waaye léegi ñu bareem fa léegi Sénégal lañ ko dee jëndee so su demand ni CFA bi eggee obviously price yi CFA dafa appreciate waaye if you look at other countries tey dalasi bi moo gën a am doole dan yeneen currency in the sub-region moo gën a am doole Lyon bi moo gën a am doole Liberian dollar bi moo gën a am doole Naira bi moo gën a am doole Cedi bi dalasi bi is doing well compared to other currencies but with the CFA there's a challenge we know that but government mu ngi def seen kéemtalaay kattan through monetary policy central bank pour ñu stabilise ko pour ñu gis ne mu nekkati level but dafa difficult because lu yow mooy ne si demand bi la nekk foog ñu wàññi demand di CFA bi pour ñu mun koo wàññi waaye dafa difficult because currency market bi si free market bi la nekk.
waaw ma yokkal dara si lu ma wax fekk Gambian économie bi suñu demand wàññiwut si lu ñoo soxla comme Sénégal dafa nekk dem kaw te soo xoolee ñun suñu major commodity suñu use Gambie Sénégal lañ ko jëlee muy lan muy basal muy lekk yu bari wante ñun Gambia foog ñu comme docteur lu ma wax ñu créer liste made in Gambia policy bu government mu ko def loolu suñ ko implémenté dina dimbale trop di ko dina wàññi pression bu ñëw teg si pour mun a am foreign currency pour mën a jëlee bagage yooyu da ngaa gis ne demand and supply la yow tey su dee man da nga nekk di jaay ndox bi price moo ne laa koo jaay te liñ ci leen koo jëlee bi moom mën nga am ndox bi waaye su dee ñëpp a ngi am ndox demand supply baa ngi bëri price bi leen kaw daaw so loolu foog ñu bàyyi ko xel di te ñun free market économie lañ am amuñu économie boo xam ne government am day impose ne lii ak lii mooy yow fii comme li nga wax da ngaa def si sob bi nga jëlee ko $6 si keneen mu koy jaay $15 loolu noonu government mu ngi seede daal loolu luy xew mooy beneen yeneen sob yi su amee nga def leen nga jëlee ko fu comme moom fu mu jëlee $6 nga def foofu nga jëlee ko.
naa la ma ñu si boobu sa second question bi la
waaw
ok léegi boobu noonu xaaral ma answer la boobu noonu because ñun as a government lu ñoo mën a def mooy ñu release retail wholesale price ak retail prices moo tax ma ne ñun ñëpp suñu responsibility la tey nit ñi ñoo war a bàyyi fi bon because ñun xam nañ ne tey maalo wholesale price wàcc na $2,600 wholesale price su lu tax yow nga jënd ko di ko dem jaay $2,500 lu tax te dafa difficult pour government police loolu noonu di dem si every shop but citizens si tamit yéen a war a play that responsibility soo gisee ne kii mu ngi yokk price am ina maana loomalut nga report ko but ñun dañ jos jënd rek ñu dem duñ dee woori government mënut a nekk si every shop possible te police mënut a nekk si every shop wala every street possible but citizens léegi ñu war a play that role as a police citizens police soo demee nga gis ne shopkeeper bi mu ngi unnecessarily inflate price am to the level boo xam doesn't make sense nga boole ko soobaa ñun law enforcement dañ jël lu ñu war a def loolu suñu responsibility la boo tey stabilise nañ price yi maa nga doon ut figo si fii waaye dama ko gisut waaye soo seetee tey maalo wholesale price wàcc na dem na ba 1,500 1,600 retail price dafa des fan nga nekka ndax Farafenni nga nekka parce que ki am maalo di jaay Farafenni ak ki jaay Karaba Avenue du nekk benn price parce que shop rent Karaba Avenue la gën a chéré daan Farafenni but roughly tey maalo around 1,900 ba 2,100 di nga ko dee mën a am ba $2,050 di nga ko dee mën a am te nekkul di daanu wàcca boo xam dañu ne everyday price yaa ngi egg ñun as a government te def nañ intervention ci bari through subventions pour gis ne basic commodity seen price yi mu stabilize ñu ngi def subvention into fuel te in the sub region apart from Nigeria because Nigeria has fuel ñoom dañu am essence ñun we have the cheapest fuel in the sub region but even with basic food commodities tey muy diwlin muy maalo muy lion muy potato sub region bi fii Gambie moo gën a yomba but duñ dee grow all of this dañ ko dee import te logistics price dafa egg after Covid temps boobu container bu daan jar $3,000 pour nga ship léegi $9,000 la da ngaa fay pour loolu so léegi the solution is mooy we go back ñun ñu make sure we build our local industries the government foofu la nekk ñu di support local industries yi waaye kam wala one thing la any government bu support local industries du dee yomba daf di am challenge si beginning bi ba bala moo pick up yes ñaata bor lañ jël ak ñaata bor la presse government bi jël su dee si loolu moo ëppa
comme ci bor bi bilan bi ñu gis.
waaw
si man ci 9 livres.
waaw
li ngeen publié comme am nañ ko si bor moo ëpp si man li passé.
waaw naa ñëw si loolu naa fa esi leeral ñu commencé si marché bi
nga boole benn kii boobu.
waaw
si wàllu business bi tamit comme notre frère bu booy di wax Gambia right now si business bi amul contrôle da ngaa gis ku wàccee port di jaay wholesale xam nga right time bu wholesale dafa start si starting pour nga jaay bu ndaw ko léegi borom magasin bi mooy am table si biir yoon bi tamit di détail di jaay wholesale booy ñoo dañ andi la war a jox benn keesa kooku naka lay jaay.
waa léegi yëpp
parce que yooyu yëpp si yéen
waa xam nga loolu yëpp foog nit ñi understand naka la mbir di doxee di wax ne am nga ñaari mbir nga fi wax marché ak ki nga xam ne moo sam jënd këram mu bil stooyam xam nga lu dafa ute ah waaw marché nag ñu ngi koo ñaawlu parce que ñun marché council si ñoo responsible pour marché njuuj jaay bi war a am si marché si mbiri shop war koo jëlee 10,000 di ko jëlee 100 si ñi nga xam ne moo di xaalis bi loolu mbiri council yi la council yi ngeen war a blame si loolu moo tax président Barrow mu ngi samp ay marché léegi te ñu ngi commission marché yu es pour rek jàppare nit ñi parce que council yi nga xam ne ñoo war a toppatoo yooyu nekkuñ ñi ko toppatoo moo tax ñu am daal problème in Brikama marché bu government ñëwee bil marché Brikama ire council ne ñoom ñoo war a ron ma ñun ñu ne non parce que yéen loolu leen a doxee marché du yoon ñu dem court ñun ñu win moo tax ñun ñu nekk di joxe marché bi Brikama foofu noonu waaw mooy buñ bu président Barrow bi waaw loolu laa la waaw waaw déedéet non ban marché nga wax déedéet ñun marché bu es buñ bil si biir boobu laay wax waaw so NPP mo waaw ñaata lañ la caaj
su waxee CFA na wàññi
nooral ma ñëw yaa nga jaase mbiri man laaj ñata tontu sa ñetti question yi nooral ma ñëw rek léegi mbiri marché council yi ñoo responsable pour marché yi ñu ngi sampay marché waaye ki nga xam ne même rek ki nga xam ne moom moo jënda kiram mu sampa bitikam kooku mënuloo koo wax ñaata la war a joxe rentam rent ak am na there is a level there is a threshold waaye tamit loolu noonu gomme mënu koo contrôle loolu benn la si ñaareel bi mooy mbiri bor bi foo naa nit ñi duñ dee understand mbiri bor bi ñun jëluñ moo bor dan li fi amoon before waaye bor bi yokku na waa lu tax mu yokku parce que buñ doon jël bor 15-20 years ago ñaata la woon dollar bi $50 $40 woon dollar bi léegi dollar bi ñaata la $75 so obvious dina gën a egg waaye bor sa bonut bor xam nga la moo bor si bon mënuloo koo fay wala nga mbumbaay ko waaye te dëkk boo gis si àdduna si daf dee jël bor Saudi Arabia nga xam ne ak li ñu am yëpp ñu ngi jël bor ay $1 trillion bor lañ dee jël bor soo ko jëlee nga invest ko mu isla return investment loolu am na njëriñ so bor bonut waaye ñun jëluñ moo bor de bor yi ñu fi fekka bor bi dafa inflate parce que lu tax leena interest rate si dafa éeg secondly foreign currency market bi dafa yokku moo tax bor bi gën a yokku te remember amoon na jamono dañ freeze Gambia seen bor dañ ko freeze am na benn time dañ ko wipe out totally dañu baalaloon as part of the highly indebted poor countries ñu wipe out suñ bor yi so Gambia te suñ bor sa bariwul sa anyway man xamala mooy li kat yi coobi ñu ngi ko mën a fay ñu ngi am budget boo xam ne it's almost zero deficit almost 1% deficit mooy te li ñoo am ak li ñoo spend tuuti rek moo nekk seen diggante ya dëkk yu bari fa huge deficit lañ am mënuñ koo fiil America ay dëkk yu bari huge deficit lañ am ñun suñ bor tey dafa wàcca from 75% of GDP debt to GDP léegi mu ngi 68% et min suñ bor mu ngi wàcca ñu ngi ko mën a fay si seen budget bi te ñu ngi si def investment te investment suñ def across all sectors for the four ban dëkk nga gis at the same time mu ngi sampa yoon ni mu ko war a sampee mu ngi sampa schools mu ngi sampa hospitals mu ngi dimbee jàppale ndaw yi mu ngi isi courant mu ngi isi ndox at the same time all these sectors are ngi move ñu ngi invest yi noonu ñu ngi jàppale béykat yi ñu ngi def investment ñu ngi def subventions at the same time scarcity amul si dëkk bi at the same time te suñ bor ñu ngi ko mën a fay at the same time te nekkul di ñu sonal waaye bor moom loolu du issue bor soo ko jëlee xoolal baating haadil highway bi part concession la part grant la mooy concession mooy bor boo xam ne interest is very low over a very long period jaru ko tey ñi doon dawal moto fii ñaata essence nga daan lakka balaa nga àgga because of traffic ñaata yaaxu yow la moto bi ñu ko weerantiya sa moto di yaaxu ñaata bad air bi pollution bi wala baating haadil highway bi nu mel tey bor bi jaru ko te man su ma jëlee bor as a family man ma dem am xew moo bor waaye ma jël bor invest ko suma éducation yi doom loolu am lu njëriñ parce que su ñëwee bor bi mun naa koo fay soo bor boobu du issue bi lu gën a am solo mooy nga invest sa dëkka te ñu ngi invest moo gën a am solo si mbiri am na beneen boo wax
mbiri li mu wax mooy wàlli place bi si marché bi
waaw
ma da nga ne council bi ñoo yëg
waaw
dama yaakaar ne jiyaare bi dëgg la council bi ñoo ko yëg waaye government bi lan moo tax man lu ma jaaxal mooy def na bitik yi tamit price duñ benn
waaw
na ne loolu ñun war nañ ci jàpp
waaw
lan moo tax government mënut a wax rek ñoo ko déggandoo mën ko wàññi lan mooy problème
déedéet government mënut a benn government mënut a def loolu si at ñun free market lañ am free market parce que tey yow soo jaay ndox ngay jaay ndox tey ngay jaay ndox naka nga tudd tam si yow jaaykati ndox nga yow nga dem jëndaan ndox wholesale nga jëndee ko $50 yi for example $50 nga ko jëndee nga jël ndox bi nga move ko depending fan nga ko jëndee parce que di further nga ko jëndee di moo ngay fay pour logistics léegi nga jël ndox bi Mali pass bi pour nga isi fay ndox nga isi ko Gambia fii mu ngi la cost ñu ko wàccee égal da nga leen war a fay yaa ngi war a fay shop boo rent yaa ngi war a fay tax yaa ngi war a fay ñi nga xam ne mooy sa watchman ak sa leverage ñu laa dimbale si shop bi yaa ngi war a am sa profit margin nga add ko si nga add fa loo spend yëpp gombe mu la ne non donc yow nga ne ok léegi pour nga mun see génn ak loo spend yëpp foog nga jaay ndox bi $60 gome ne non da nga ko war a jaayee 55 xam nga looy def da nga ko denc doo ko jaay moo de isi scarcity si dëkka ndox du am si dëkka bi gome mënut a interfere si market bi bu ko def de isi scarcity moom su ma demee jëndal suma ndox $50 bu lu ma si spend yëpp ma ne man pour ma mun see make $2 profit dama ko war a jaayee 60 8 bi yëpp dafa dem si transportation ak yooyu noonu gome non 55 nga ko jaay dama du ma ko jaay dafa ay si scarcity it means kenn du jaay sa ma denc ko sax moo gën ma jàkkate los.
léegi su ma la déggee comme man maa ngi business price boo féewoo rek dafa suma bagage.
déedéet
mun naa ko jaay.
non 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 moo tax non 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 moo tax government.
parce que dama gis ku ñëw kii yore mu ne problème la.
non non ma tontu la bu ko moom businessman su dee yow bagage booy jaay government da nga si dimbale par exemple xam nga sukur ak imaalo am na yeneen bagage yu bëri suy dugal si fii
dañ defee ju
government dañ leen dimbale bi ko doon fay juuti bagage yooyu su ñëwee nit te government dimbale leen si dafa am ni nga ko war a jaay because bagage bi pour dimbale askan bi yëpp la waaye man loi may na ma mun naa jëlal ndox bi $50 su ma nee ma jaay ko $200 ndite lu tax mooy ku nekk am nga droit pour jaay ndox soo man su ma ko jaayee $200 yow nga jaay ko 60 mooy di fan laa jëla su bëggee mu jël si yow waaye nag am na yenn bagage yoo xam ne government ñoo dee dugal seen xaalis ñu subsidise bagage yooyu government am na ci right léegi pour ñëw ne non lii mu ne la def ko government la ci invest waaye yow soo demee sa nga jël sa courtida nga moom sa courtida nga risque sa xaalis nga indi ko Gambie nga fay juuti nga fay lu nekk nga fay luwaas ak everything lu la nee nga koo jaayee because lu xewoon mooy su la nee soo ko jaayee loolu nee keneen mun na ko mu ne dafa seer moo tax mu dem foo ko jëlee indi ko jaay ko ci ba loolu mooy compétition
mooy free market
mooy free market
waaw mooy competition so da ngaa gis dañuy custom by the side so monopoly moo tax free market loolu ala monopoly luy monopoly mooy ñu jox la yow kenn rek di raay pour nga jaay ko dañ ko bàyyi ñëpp ku nekk nga mun a jaay so yow soo ko jaay sa 200 jaay ko sa 200 su ma ñëwee dama ko dem jaay sa néeg bi $50 mu am profit alright
okay next